Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
Out of all the heroes we see in the Marvel Universe, the most interesting, enticing, and symbol of the cosmic wonder of this vast universe has to be the Silver Surfer. When it comes to the Silver Surfer, the first person we think of is Norrin Radd. However, did you know that over the years, his lover, Shalla Bal, has also taken up the mantle in the alternate realities in the comics? Being the ruler of Zenla and the Silver Surfer must not have been easy for Shalla Bal. However, that gave us a new version of the Silver Surfer we'd never considered before. Now, with the upcoming Fantastic Four film featuring Shalla Bal as the Silver Surfer, it's absolutely impossible not to compare the two Silver Surfers. You might be thinking that Shalla Bal, as the Silver Surfer, is just the MCU doing their basic gender swapping thing again. But let me explain. There's so much more to Shalla Bal as a Silver Surfer than you might think. So let's see the major differences between these two Heralds of Galactus, and see why Shalla Bal deserves to have a movie of her own. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Different origins. Norrin Radd's Silver Surfer is the noblest and most tormented character ever. You see, he was this young astronomer who was happily learning about things in Zenla, his home planet. Life was good to him. He didn't need to worry about wars and brutalities because Zenla never had a problem with any of those. The main thing that concerned Norrin Radd, which almost took away his happiness, was the lack of challenge and struggle in his life. You see, Norrin was named after Norrin Khan, a revered scientist who practically changed Zenla from a barbaric place to a utopia. Norrin's father, Jartran, always ensured Norrin remained curious. However, after a while, Norrin had nothing else to look forward to. He was a restless soul, so he started immersing himself in the adventurous past of Zenla to keep himself engaged. Breached by an alien spaceship. Seeing that, Norrin begged the council of the scientist members to give him a spaceship. Boarding that, Norrin left and confronted the invader. The invader was none other than Galactis, the cosmic entity who fed on worlds. Galactus wanted to devour Zenla, and Norrin could not let that happen in good conscience. So with no other choice, Norrin offered himself to be the Herald of Galactus. He promised he would seek out more worlds for Galactus to consume if he would let Zenla go. Galactus considered the offer and eventually agreed to it. He turned Norrin into the silver-skinned cosmic being we know as the Silver Surfer, and that's how he ended up becoming the hero we know him as. On the other hand, Shalla Bal was originally introduced just as Norrin's love interest. However, in the alternate timelines, she ends up becoming the Silver Surfer. For example, in Earth X, the Silver Surfer went to Franklin Richards after Galactus died. Working with the High Evolutionary, Surfer turned Franklin Richards into the new Galactus. Franklin lost all his memories and started considering himself to be Galactus. He allowed Silver Surfer and Shalla Bal to finally reunite, and this is when he decided to give Shalla Bal the same powers as the Silver Surfer, turning her into the female Silver Surfer. Together, the couple acted as the twin heralds. This ascension to power for Shalla Bal is a pivotal moment in her life. She takes on this role in various alternate universes, not because of self-sacrifice like Norrin, but because she wants to either avenge Norrin or stand up for what is right. In a way, this variety of narratives adds more to her origin than Norrin's tragic fate, which shaped him through and through. Relationship to Galactus. When Norrin first chose to be the Herald of Galactus, his goal was to spare the lives of people and direct Galactus to other energy-rich worlds. That way, he would be able to go across the universe without the guilt of being responsible for the deaths of several sentient lives. However, after the first 100 years of complete servitude, Norrin started getting into a bit of a problem. You see, he was running out of planets to bring to the devourer of worlds that were uninhabited. The first time Norrin was forced to offer an inhabited planet to Galactus, he went almost mad from the guilt. This forced Galactus to alter his mind so that Norrin could not remember his past or his emotions. This led to Norrin becoming the stone-cold herald that brought Galactus onto Earth. However, once he was on Earth, Norrin was touched by the kindness of humanity, which triggered a change in him. He started questioning his purpose in life as the Herald of Galactus. This slowly brought back his memories of the human side that Galactus had suppressed. This turns the most loyal servant of the Devourer of Worlds against him, and eventually, Norrin defies Galactus, rising up against him for good. Shalla Bal, on the other hand, has a different way of looking at the relationship she shared with Galactus. When she turned into the Herald, she always did it because she had a broader mission. Her loyalty was not as blind as Norrin's, and she was not prone to accepting Galactus' destruction at face value. In some versions, we see her defy or redirect Galactus too. As the Empress of Zenla, Shalla Bal has a personality that she's not willing to forego. I'm not saying that Norrin didn't have a personality. Norrin was a kind man who originally wanted to do good things, but ended up getting twisted because of his kind heart. Shalla Bal is the Empress who rose to power. She knows how the world works, and when to be kind and when not to be kind. This practicality and lack of kindness remains in her as the Silver Surfer, making her more of a cosmic emissary and less of a cosmic servant. She adds a layer of diplomacy and cosmic politics to her role, which makes sense given her background. Personality and moral compass. From the very beginning of his introduction, it's made abundantly clear that Norrin Radd is a kind man. He's sweet, knowledgeable, caring, and deeply philosophical. He grew up knowing that he had to earn the name that he got. He knew he had big shoes to fill. That's why Norrin always questioned the morality of all of his actions. The knowledge that he acquired over the years was to help people and to find meaning in his life. He always sought freedom and exploration because that would open more gates for him to better understand himself and how to help others. However, when danger came knocking on Zenla's door, Norrin was more than happy to be the one to make the biggest sacrifice ever. He knew what he was doing would condemn him for life, but he chose to do it, hoping to help not just his people, but the people who might end up falling victim to Galactis if he was not there to redirect Galactis. This kindness is what ended up drowning him in guilt when he was forced to give Galactis a world that was inhabited by people. Once his memories were altered, he guided Galactis to Earth. There, the time he spent with humanity brought back the concept of free will, redemption, and guilt in his heart. As Norrin has always been someone who challenged himself to become a better version of himself, it made sense that he started questioning his relationship with Galactis as a whole. In the end, we saw Norrin haunted by the people he killed and the worlds he destroyed, and begrudgingly, he had to accept that he was a cosmic sinner who sought absolution. Shalla Bal, on the other hand, was not so weak-hearted. She's very emotionally strong. Her emotional intensity, her strong sense of justice, and her determination shine through her action. Instead of Norrin, who's haunted by his past, Shalla Bal chose to focus on the present. She did not see the point in brooding over past actions. Her approach was much more direct and, to a degree, aggressive. This contrast between the two is certainly enjoyable to see. Norrin is poetic, tragic, and introspective, whereas Shalla Bal is fiery, determined, and confrontational. This gives her an edge whenever she's dealing with cosmic conflicts, making her emotional core her greatest strength. Powers and cosmic control. Both Norrin and Shalla Bal have the power cosmic as the Silver Surfer. This is the unlimited source of cosmic energy, which is usually wielded by Galactis. With this, the Silver Surfer could do practically anything. He could absorb energy, project energy, and even manipulate it in whatever way he wanted. Molecular restructuring, transmutation, size alteration, teleportation, etc. are just a few of the many abilities that the power cosmic granted him. So understandably, both Norrin and Shalla Bal got to do those things with their powers. However, there's a huge difference in how they wield their power. See, when it comes to Norrin, he chooses to use the power cosmic in a very general way. He uses energy beams and defensive shields most of the time. However, Shalla Bal focuses her power cosmic on something else. She uses it to manipulate nature. Her plant-based cosmic abilities are truly an interesting take on how the power cosmic can be used. The way she manipulates life around her creates a harmony between her powers, her spirituality, and the ecology surrounding her, which we didn't see in Norrin. Shalla Bal's creative use of the power cosmic also includes resurrecting dead ecosystems and transforming a hostile environment into something habitable. In the way Shalla Bal wields her powers, you can see that the way she takes care of people is very different from Norrin's. Role in the universe. Other than wielding the same power very differently, Norrin and Shalla Bal also have different roles in the universe. When you look at the way Norrin led his life, it's evident that he lived his life as the cosmic wanderer. He did not have a place that he could call home. He simply went from one place to another because he did not belong anywhere. He is a nomad, he has no destination, and his entire life is a lonely journey. Norrin often questions his place in the universe in the grand scheme of things, and this has led to many heated debates between him and other cosmic entities. Norrin's thirst for knowledge, introspection, and deeply philosophical nature leave his mind and emotions vulnerable to these concepts. He even went up against abstract entities like the Living Tribunal and the Eternity, simply because he wanted to know what it meant. On the other hand, Shalla Bal is a focused crusader. She did not become a herald without any goal in mind. She knows what her destination is, whether it's a happy Zenla, avenging Norrin's legacy, or maintaining the cosmic balance, she knows what she's after. Her journeys are not about existential reflections. Instead, they're about her actions, and what she's willing to do to achieve her goals. In a way, you could say that while Norrin seeks to understand things, Shalla Bal, on the other hand, wants resolution. She wants things to be done with, the sooner the better. Her need to act as promptly as possible is something that keeps her going. This makes her an amazing protagonist for more fast-paced storylines with narrative arcs with urgency. Norrin is much more suited for stories that build up over time, making us question ourselves by the end of it. Visual design and armor. With how different their personalities are, would you be surprised to know that both of them have different designs as well? And they mean different things? I don't think so. Norrin's design can be described in one word: minimalistic. His design is very sleek and smooth. It almost seems like Norrin is naked, with light reflecting off his metallic skin. It makes him look ethereal, pure, and somewhere a lot more graceful. Even his board is simplistic and minimalistic. You can look at it and immediately see it would be something that is a lot speedier than you or I might think at first glance. The minimalism depicted in Norrin's design is not a coincidence. He is pure and he is detached. A lot of people feel that Norrin as a character is like a blank slate. He has no personality. I believe that is because this design of the character as a whole was supposed to be someone who is absolutely pure. I mean, think about it. Our flaws are what make us interesting. The personalities that make us attractive are convictions, actions, and morality, which we have developed over the years, and we have made mistakes. However, Norrin does not have to make mistakes because he's simply here to ponder, and you cannot fill a cup until it's empty. That's what I think Norrin's design depicts. Shalla Bal's design is much more intricate. She sometimes has the iconic smooth silver form, but other times we see her in this armor. The armor is intricate, with regal patterns and natural motifs. Some versions even show her with flowing hair and a lot more humanoid elements, something that Norrin distinctly lacks. This is because when it comes to Shalla Bal, we already know that she has conviction, determination, and goals. She's a strong empress, fighting to protect her people, a lover avenging her lover's legacy, and a cosmic guardian who's bound to protect the world. She has plausible character traits, and they need to be seen even when she doesn't speak. Motivations as Herald. As the Herald of Galactus, Norrin's first goal was to find worlds that did not have people on them, so that he would not condemn people to die. However, after he regained his senses, Norrin realized that his service to Galactus had a lot of consequences. He's haunted by his past, and now he spends the rest of his life going through space, hoping to atone for his sins. He does so by going up against tyranny or saving innocent worlds on his own. Either way, Norrin is doing all the things because he's wrestling with his inner demons at all times. That makes him a sympathetic hero to follow because we can put ourselves in his shoes and go through the stages of emotions that he feels. Shalla Bal as Herald was a lot more focused. She knew that she was a herald because of something. No matter what it may be, in the end, you can always tie her motivations as a herald to one thing: justice. Shalla Bal wanted justice, not just for her people, but for everyone in this universe. She does not have the same amount of guilt that burdens and breaks Norrin over time. She instead has a sense of purpose that keeps her driving forward, especially when she hears that her motherland is being threatened. This makes Shalla Bal's journey as a hero much more proactive. She's all about leadership and being the guiding light for people plunged into darkness. Character evolution. There's no denying that Norrin Radd's evolution as a character can be best described as tragic. He was a happy man who was forced to make a choice that gave away his freedom just for the greater good. Despite that, Norrin went for it, and he was a loyal servant to Galactus while he worked under him. But then, slowly, Norrin went from a hero, the hero he wanted to be, to a monster by his own standards when he was forced to guide Galactus to an inhabited world. Destroyed by his own actions, Norrin almost went mad, which forced Galactus to turn Norrin into a worse version of the monster than Norrin had initially thought he would be. Finally, when he regained his kindness and his humanity, Norrin ended up becoming so guilt-ridden that he could not stop pursuing atonement. His growth is because of the innocence that he lost, and time again, and the pursuit of knowledge that helped him come to terms with it. In a way, you could say that his arc is Shakespearean. While Norrin's character evolution is more inward, Shalla Bal's character evolution is more outward. Her transformation as a character is linked with her ability to rise to the occasion. She has to become a leader and become empowered. In the universes where she becomes the surfer, she's originally the leader of Zenla. Now, from being responsible for just her world, Shalla Bal has to learn to become responsible for the entire universe. Connections to Zenla. Shalla Bal's life before becoming a herald is very much related to Zenla. Usually, she's the leader, the protector, and the diplomat of Zenla. She becomes a herald simply to protect her people or avenge a loss. Zenla is Shalla Bal's home, which she can return to after her mission is done. That is her source of hope and purpose as a whole. However, when it comes to Norrin, his connection with Zenla is a bit different. Originally, Norrin chose to become the Herald of Galactus to save Zenla, but over the years, Zenla became a wound for Norrin. He could never go back back to Zenn-La knowing what he had done, even though he still loved Shalla Bal. The different emotional ties the two characters have with their homeland would also play a role in how they treat the people they come across in their galactic journey as a herald, since, for Shalla Bal, emotional connections are not a wound. She's much more open to talking to people and bonding with them, which defines the way she acts in space. Not so much for Norrin, who seems to avoid connections as much as he can. He can maintain friendships, but somewhere you can see Norrin's fear of loss, which he still carries in his heart. Canon versus alternate reality. In Earth 616, we do not get to see Shalla Bal as another Herald of Galactus. That role strictly belongs to our boy Norrin Radd. His story as the Silver Surfer actually happens to be the central crux to many major arcs that happen throughout Marvel canon. From the war between the Kree and the Skrull to the Infinity Gauntlet that we saw in recent years, Norrin Radd has played a role in all of them to a degree, so his position in the Marvel canon is practically unshakable. Shalla Bal as the Silver Surfer is something we only get to see in the various what-ifs of the Marvel universe, as well as alternate realities like Earth X. Her journey as the Herald has garnered quite a bit of attention, and given how different she is from Norrin, fans are excited to see the narrative potential of her Silver Surfer. Lately, the MCU has been expanding into several alternate realities that it boasts. I think it was only a matter of time before we got to see her as the Silver Surfer in one of the MCU movies. Her being a part of the Fantastic Four movie is a huge step, because that marks a major departure from the comic canon. Now, whether or not fans will end up liking Phase 6 of the MCU with her inclusion will be something up for speculation. Marvelous verdict. So what do you guys think? Will Shalla Bal be as iconic as the Silver Surfer as Norrin Radd used to be? Or will she be more memorable than he was? Hopefully by now you can see why Shalla Bal being the Silver Surfer is more than just gender swapping a well-loved character. Shalla Bal brings a different edge to the table, which I think would be a fantastic start to Phase 6 of the MCU, giving a good idea of what we have awaiting us in the future. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the new movie and the new Silver Surfer, and I'll see you guys next time. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.